Mercedes A-Class. Now, at the end of last year, Mercedes gave it a facelift to keep it looking fresh, and that included some new bumpers. So, if you look here, that's how the car used to look. This is the new look. You probably see that the intakes there are bigger than they are here. Personally, I prefer that old look, but I'll tell you what, let me know what you think. Click up there to vote in our poll. Do you prefer the old style or the new style? Now, either way, this car is all about its design and, of course, that badge. You don't buy an A-Class primarily because it's practical, because, well, actually, it's one of the least practical cars in its class. So for starters, the doors don't open all that wide, which makes it a bit trickier to get in. And once you're inside and you shut the door, you think, oh my God, it's a bit dark and dingy in here. Those windows are quite small, and this sloping roof does make it feel just a bit claustrophobic. Kids, yeah, they won't like that. Another thing with this sloping roof, it does limit headroom. I'm okay, I'm about 5'11"-ish, but people over 6 foot are going to struggle, which is a bit of a shame because knee room is actually pretty decent. Now, this car does have exposed Isofix fittings down there, so it's easy to fit a child's seat base. And while there is a hump in the floor, it's not that big, so with 3 in the back, it's just about bearable. A bit better with 3 in the back than some of its rivals, just not as good as its rivals with 2 in the back. Now, if you want more details on that, click up there to watch our in-depth practicality video. You'll be able to see how easy it is to fit a child seat and just how much stuff you can fit in this car's boot. Speaking of which, I'll try and summarise now. You see, the A-Class's boot is a little bit smaller than its rivals, and that limits what you can get into it. So does the fact that the opening is quite narrow, so it can be a bit of a pain to load wider items. It does try and make up for these failings with some underfloor storage there. The load lip isn't too high. You've got various nets about the place, 12-volt socket, some tether points, and look at this. When you fold the seats down, they lie almost flat. You also get a, can I do it? There we go, you can get a ski hatch for the car if you need it. And I'll just fold this one down so you can see the full load area, flat low bay. So that does help. Now this car, it starts from just under £20,000, which isn't bad considering how desirable it is. And if you click up there to go to carwow.co.uk, you can see the best deal you can get on an A-Class. Now when you climb inside this car, it does feel pretty posh. So the design, it's nice and sporty. And on the whole, you think, quality's not bad. Then you look around a bit and you know some cheap plastics about the place, which you wouldn't expect in a Mercedes. These down here certainly don't pass, ow, yeah, that really hurt. The carwow flick test. And, you know, you can forgive it in some ways because the practicality is okay. You've got decent, if I can get into it, come on. There we go. You've got decent storage under there, large door bins, front and back, a reasonable glove box, and equipment's generally okay, though I should point out that SE cars get a smaller screen than this, so you can upgrade it if you want to, and you can upgrade to the Command Online system, which, well, the Navi system, yeah, I don't think it's all that good. You're better off using the standard fit Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Now, if you want to see our full review of the infotainment system, just click up there to watch our interior review, and you'll be able to have another good look around this car's cabin.
So then, that's the Mercedes A-Class's interior dealt with. Now let's find out what it's like to drive.
So when you first jump into this car, the low-slung driving position and the firm suspension makes you think, hey, yeah, this feels pretty sporty. But you only have to go about, I don't know, let's say about 100 metres, and you soon realise this is not as fun to drive as an Audi A3 or BMW 1 Series. Because when you push it into a corner, it starts to run wide a little bit earlier than you might imagine, and the steering is so bleh that you have no idea what the front wheels are doing. And as you bounce down the road on that firm suspension, which is made worse if you've got larger alloy wheels or the lowered AMG line suspension, you think, wait a minute, I've been tricked here. Now you can make it a little bit better, the suspension, by going for the optional dampers. They're around 500 quid, and they do make the car ride better, and they make it handle better as well, but it's still not as good as its rivals, you know. It just doesn't feel all that much like a Mercedes. One way it does actually feel like a Mercedes, though, is that the manual gearboxes aren't very good to use. The automatics are better. The ones in the A-Class aren't as good as the ones that you get in the BMW 1 Series. As for engines, well, the petrols, yeah, they're only okay. The diesels are better, but the 1.5 litre diesel is a bit slow. The 2.1 litres are much more powerful, and they're the ones to go for, but they are a bit noisy. The one in this car, it's the A200. Yeah, it should be able to do 68 miles per gallon, and I'm looking at the trick computer. Let's have a look what it's saying. It's saying 45 miles per gallon, which isn't quite as good as I expected. What's also not as good as I expected is the visibility. So, big blind spot by this sweeping pillar. big blind spot by the pillars in the back, small rear window, so it's little wonder that Mercedes felt compelled to give this car a reversing camera as standard. Now, if you click up there, you can see for yourself what the visibility is like by joining me for a 360-degree passenger ride video.
The A-Class has some other annoying traits. Here's 5.
Some bits of this car just don't seem as solid as you'd expect a Mercedes to be. In UK cars, the pedals are set a little bit too much to the right, so you feel a bit twisted behind the wheel. There's very little room for your hand to operate the seat back control. It looks like two different companies designed the door trim and the dash because the two just don't fit together. You can only get 60-40 folding rear seats, not 40-20-40 like in some rivals. Bit of a shame if you like a bit of three-way action.
However, it's not all bad. There are quite a few things about the Mercedes A-Class which help make up for all this.
Thanks to internet connectivity, you can get various apps for the car, including Twitter, so you don't have to use your phone. You can get the A-Class with all-wheel drive for superior road-holding grip. Some switches are finished in galvanised metal for a quality feel. You can get the car with 12 different ambient mood lighting colours to suit your mood or your lack of taste. The car can monitor your attention levels and will warn you if it thinks you're starting to fall asleep. Hey, come on, wake up, the vid's almost over. So then, overall, what do I think of the Mercedes A-Class? Well, rivals are better to drive and they are more practical, but this is desirable and stylish, plus it comes with lots of equipment as standard. Now, if you click up there, you can get more information and find out the best deal you can get on a Mercedes A-Class at carwow.co.uk.